on it. And you'll see a picture of this on my Facebook page. It came up in just the other day, so it's fairly recent. And they sat him in it, and they carried. This is a big steep hill, right? And we're talking about.
Just as well, you're not that big, that.
Look, I reckon you'd be talking about a half a kilometre, and at least half of it is like that, right? They carried him up.
Wow, that would be.
They got him there, and they produced a birthday cake. A real birthday cake, which somehow they brought in from Massot or something, right? And they sang happy birthday to him. He is deeply, deeply loved by the refugees in Malek. Wow. And now, they would refer to him as a grandfather for them. And I won't tell you what grandfather is in Karen because it'll make you laugh and it'll embarrass him. But
What is it?
Later.
sorry,
Just
Later.
he can tell you if he wants to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Later.
But you see, journeying with Robin Wales has been for me personally an enormous joy. You know, I love this guy. I highly respect him. I bless God for the time that he came across my doorway. I think he and his wife came to Albury, where I was the director of the base there, and spoke once. And something sparked between us, you know. It was one of these clicking things, you know. And Robin rang me when his wife died. I've forgotten her name. Gayleen, of course, Gayleen. And Robin said to me, I don't know what to do. You know, Gayleen's gone, and I feel like I'm at a loose end. And I said, why don't you come to Thailand? And it's all I could think of. You know, I'm going to Thailand. Maybe if I involve Robin, God will speak to him, and this will help him in his grieving for Gayleen. Right? Taking him to Thailand, it was like he walked into the refugee camp and something clicked in him.
Wow.
And he has diligently, compassionately, and in enormous kindness ministered to those refugees. And they don't have much to say except a dirty, great big thank you. That's all they can do. A birthday cake. Yeah. But he is highly honoured because of what he's done.
Giving himself, right?
I remember, I think it was the first trip into Mesley Key. There was you, there was
What's his name?
there was Ken Curry.
Yes.
And you had another doctor from Queensland.
Bruce from Toowoomba.
That's right. That's right. And there was Kevin and Marcia Liskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there were four. Now, what had happened was they had got to Mesley Key before me.
Yeah.
On the previous trip to the camp, I've been talking to Em, who had started a primary healthcare centre in Mesley Key. And she had maybe half an acre of land attached to that. And we were talking about the children in the village. All they would eat is salt and rice. Salt and rice, salt and rice. They're malnourished. And occasionally they kill a chicken and they get a bit of protein. So I said to Em, why don't we plant out your land with fruit trees and let the fruit trees grow. And we just have one rule. The children are welcome to come and eat as much fruit as they can in the orchard, but they're not allowed to take the fruit out, because if you take it out, it's going to be sold or whatever. And so the children can come any time and feast on. They said, that's a great idea, but we don't have any money for fruit trees. So I said, I'll bring some next time. So these guys are heading up to Thailand for the first time, and I'm just busy, and it occurs to me 2 days before I'm flying that I don't have 1 cent for fruit trees, and there's nothing in the bank I can borrow from. And I just cried out to God, and I said, I feel like I've lied. You know, I feel like I need some money for fruit trees, and the phone rings.
Thank you, Lord.
And it's somebody in rural Victoria who've been praying for the Korean, and they've got kids. And they were praying that night previous at dinner time, and the kids said, we want to give our piggy banks to the Karen people in the camp. To Australian Mercy to help the Karen people. Now this is Mesley Key is a Karen village, it's Thai Karen. And he rang up and said, well, how do we get this money to you? I said, how much money are we talking about? He said, well, it'd be about $200. I said, how would you like it if I used it to buy some fruit trees? And he said, that'd be wonderful. So I borrowed $200. He sent $200 into our bank accounts. I flew to Thailand. I borrowed a car. We went to Chiang Mai to a nursery, and we bought hundreds of fruit trees. Right? And so I was late leaving. The sun was sinking low, and I arrived in Mesley Key, and I've got this ute full of fruit trees in the back, and I can't see. It's so dark. And I had a camera, a movie camera with night vision on it. And so I'd lift up the movie camera with night vision so I could see where to walk, right? So I parked the car on the track, and I walked into the village. And as I'm walking into the village, Robin and the other four are just on their way to have a Bible study at M's place, and they walk into me. And so we spent the next 2 or 3 days planting fruit trees in this paddock, in this half acre or whatever it is. So when we walked in a couple of years ago, when I told you that, right? So when we walk in, we walk past the land, and it is wall to wall mature mangoes, wall to wall lychees, and you name it, it's there. They've even got some coconut palms and stuff.
Wow.
And I said to Em, how's it going with this? She said, you know what? We have taken the seeds from the plants that the kids have eaten and just the fruit that they've left behind, and we've made more trees. And so we've now got a bigger forest. And she said, the children come, they eat the fruit, they keep the rules, and it's helped to address malnutrition in this village. Wow. $200. This man, in the hot blazing sun, in Thailand, on a very steep hill, one hole at a time.
80, how old?
80. Sorry?
84 or 80?
No, you
80.
would have been 76 or something.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that all?
About 76.
Is that all? Very young.
So I am just thrilled to have walked with Robin and continue to walk with Robin. He's still working for us, and we're still getting him to do stuff and order stuff for us. And he's done us proud, and I think he's done you guys proud as a family.
That's right.
I think you should.
David's been, after we went to Albury, David's been helping us ever since we went to the Philippines in 1992. So it was just 25 years now he's been supporting us.
92.
Is that when you met Sheila?
A bit after.
No, that was 96.
I was visiting Dad in the Philippines.
63 back then.
Yeah. 1992. Yeah, that's a while.
Yeah, this was in 92, we set it all up and went from 93 to 96.
Megan. Yeah, you're right, Dad.
Just one more Robin Wales story for you. 2006, East Timor. We went in because there was trouble. There was fighting amongst the people. There were militias shooting people. The New Zealand Army was in there, and were trying to keep, and the Australian Army, and trying to keep things level, but the NGOs had left. The only person I could find to go with me was Robin. So we went to East Timor, and I think it was the day we arrived. We went to Hera, where the work is, and this huge procession of people, hundreds of trucks filled with people going. They're driving past and they're on their way to go into Dili to riot and to fight and to shoot. I mean, and we're looking at this and we're thinking, this is not good. So we just continue just to work on, particularly in this dry riverbed. And there was a lady, and I forget her name, but her daughter's name is Honoraria or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, she has a bit of a history. She was a very influential businesswoman. She lost her money. She took a mental breakdown. She went to Hera to live with her family, her brother, and he would beat her to get money out of her to fund his drinking. One night when she was beaten and not allowed to live in the house, she was sleeping under a tree and she was raped by one of the locals and she fell pregnant. And she raised the child, and that's Honoraria or whatever her name is. And the child looks exactly like the father, and everybody knows who the culprit was. And she is the lowest of the low in this particular community. Nobody wants to help her, but the team in Hera did. And they went to the headman and they asked for a little plot of land so that we could build her a house, so that she could live not under a tree with her daughter. And the land was granted and we built a house, and it was nothing magnificent, but it was a shelter. And she started, even though she's got next to nothing for herself and her daughter, she started bringing in girls who were coming to Hera to stay, to study, and she'd have them live with her and provide for them so that they wouldn't get raped. You know? And so you have these kinds of stories. So 2006, this woman treads on a piece of rusty barbed wire and it breaks off in her heel. And she comes to the clinic and she has pus pouring out of her leg, and she is refusing to go to the hospital in town. She needs medical attention. She needs an operation to get that out, right? and we couldn't do anything for her other than drain the pus, and it's her foot is getting bigger, and her leg it's going up her leg, and things are beginning to turn green. And I said to her, I don't believe in bullying, but I actually got her to hospital by bullying her into the car. And Robin and I took her to hospital, even though there was this tense situation. We found a way by which we could go through back streets, and we eventually got to the hospital, and there were Australian soldiers there who said, "Oh, nobody's allowed in." And I actually said, "Well, I'm an Australian, and we've got this lady, and we need a doctor, otherwise she's going to die." And the guy said,
Yeah, good.
so in we went to go, and the doctors took her, x-rayed her, they gave her emergency surgery. They pulled out the piece of wire which was actually stuck into the bone of her heel. Strong antibiotics to get rid of the infection. She lived. And it's just one of those stories. The hardest part of that story was Honoraria, who at that point was about 8 years old, stood in front of the vehicle as we're driving out of the compound in Hera and says, "Mother, Mother, don't let them take you! You're gonna die!" Mother came back and she was alive and she was well, and she didn't have to have her leg chopped off or anything like that. These are the kinds of stories that Robin Edward Wales has been involved with for all the time that he's walked with us in Australian boxing. So be proud.
Thanks, David. Thank you very much.
And I'm sorry, but I do have to go. I've got an early morning flight in the morning, and